Hello everyone, in today's video we would be discussing about your study planner for CA Final AFM for the May 24 and also for the November 24 attempt. This includes all the new topics that you have to cover, even the MCQs, the time needed, the hours that you should allocate, the sequence you should follow, everything. So stay on till the end and I hope this video helps you. So AFM I would broadly divide into 5 main sections. And so the first section would be valuation and mergers. So do that together. Then the next section involves portfolio, mutual funds, risk management, etc. To some extent, I would say even business valuation can be a part of valuation and mergers. We have included it over here after portfolio, but we can also consider that with valuation and mergers. Then you go to foreign exchange, international capital budgeting, that is international financial management, and the new chapter of capital budgeting to be done over here, and then derivatives and interest rate. So derivatives has some addition on the theory as well as on the numerical part, so probably allocate slightly more time for derivatives. And then at the end you do the theory. Even in the first revision, even in the second revision, try to do the theory. There's always a lot of questions that students are asking, sir, will we get theory questions as we were getting earlier, or will that come in MCQs, or how would it be? In my opinion, you will get a mix. So the earlier 20 mark weightage of theory would in general still continue to remain. Probably out of those 20 marks, around 14 odd marks would come as a part of your written paper, the descriptive one, and maybe around 6 odd marks would come in as MCQs. Like in a startup finance or in securitization, you might be asked MCQs on, let us say, the limits of a startup or the instruments for securitization, etc. That can even come in an MCQ. So your overall weightage of theory in my assessment would remain the same. Also, there would be MCQs. The number of MCQs, if you see in either, we will release the MCQ sheet soon. As well as the institute MCQs are relatively lesser as compared to the FR one. So over here the proportionate time needed for MCQs would be relatively lesser. We have allocated around 8 at max 10 hours for you to do the MCQs. Again, the strategy over here should be similar. You should try to do the MCQs after each of the respective chapters. That would be the best. Mark out the MCQs where you're facing a problem, and then while you're doing your second revision, come back to only those MCQs, but you ensure that you try to practice them as well simultaneously. So over here I have given you 3 different plans. The shortest plan would be around 90 hours, completing it within 8 to 9 days in your first revision. I would prefer you go with the second plan, typically 9 to 10 days. I would give you around 10 days ideally. This is assuming you study an effective of 10 to around 11 hours a day effective. Again, that depends on your study time, and if you want a slightly more detailed understanding of your AFM syllabus, then you take around 11 to 12 days. That's close to 120 hours. So the three possible time frames over here ranges from anywhere between 8 days, the least, going up to the 12 days. Apt, I would say around 10 days is your apt time that you should dedicate for your AFM. Close to 100 to 105 hours is what you would keep in mind. Even considering MCQs, we have considered at the end. So close to 110 hours. The sequence: first valuation and mergers, then portfolio, then foreign exchange, along with international capital budgeting and your regular capital budgeting, and then derivatives and interest rates. And ensure that you dedicate your time for theory as well. For theory, we have uploaded 2 detailed videos of the compilers in the past. These videos still remain applicable. If there's a new theory compiler, we will share that soon in the upcoming months, but that will just have a few additional contents. We will even give the addendum to that. So ensure that you cover the theory because it is very scoring. Now in AFM, do I need to do some pen and paper practice? The answer is yes. You should prefer doing the pen and paper practice as well for AFM because it is a lot of solving which is required. Do I need to solve each and every question? In my opinion, not necessarily needed. You can do it in rough, but at least 1 or 2 questions from each section, each concept. So like free cash flows, from forward or futures hedging. Ensure you do it in fair as if you're doing the main paper. Now, unlike FR, when you study AFM, a couple of things that you need to remember. One, for the purpose of your last day revision, because here you don't have the liberty of dedicating, let's say, 5 days before your paper like you have in FR for AFM. So what I would strongly recommend, very strongly recommend, is when you're preparing for your AFM, we have shared the important questions. We have even marked that in the book to the extent possible. But different students have different ways to gauge the important questions. So what I would strongly recommend is, let's say a chapter has 50 questions, for example. When you are solving, there would be some questions which have a lot of adjustments which you would want to study in its entirety the day before your exam. So these are like your grade 1 questions within a chapter. That will be around 15. Maybe 30% of your chapter would comprise of grade 1 chapter. Some that you need to do before the exam. I mean, at least read through before the exam. Then there are a lot of sums in your AFM. Maybe in chapters like foreign exchange, derivatives, etc. Even valuation, where a lot of this, especially portfolio, a lot of adjustments are similar, like standard deviation calculation, your covariance calculations, they are similar, but there is a new adjustment. Maybe there is a dividend yield given on the market index, for example. So what I would want you to do, and this is very important, is you dedicate a separate color highlighter, maybe something that you have not used in general for highlighting everything. Otherwise our book has all the colors possible. Dedicate a highlighter where you mark that adjustment in the question, and the same effect of that adjustment in the solution, mark it with the same color highlighter. So when you are in that last 1.5 days, a lot of people have a problem in AFM that they are unable to complete everything in the last 1.5 days. So for these grade 2 category sums, you will not skip them, but you will read the relevant adjustment in the question and the impact of that relevant adjustment in the solution. So you might think, okay, we'll read the entire question. No, ऐसे करते करते there will be so much time that you will devote on the last day that you will not be able to complete the entire course on the last day. And if you have given CA Inter earlier, you know that if you don't study or at least touch upon things on the last day, that creates a lot of confidence as well as other issues. So I would strongly recommend that you dedicate your understanding and you highlight that adjustment and its corresponding impact in the solution, so that in the last day a lot of your time is saved. So maybe around 30-40% of your chapter on an average would have grade 2 type of problems. And then there are some questions which are absolute basic ones, like every professor when they start, typically they would have very simple concept builder type of a question, which you know that okay, this is just a direct question in selecting a bid and ask, or this is a question which is just trying to calculate forward. You will not necessarily get this in the exam. And if you are lucky enough to get this in the exam, you can even solve it directly. It does not have any deep thought process. That is like the grade 3. So on the last day, you will not even touch them on the last day. So ensure that you try to phase it. Now, when I will give you approximate 1/3 weightage for each of them, typically grade 3 are the least, maybe 15-20% at max. I mean, that too on the upper end. But at least the other questions, I would strongly recommend you try to grade it. Some students say, sir, we are not confident. Something better than nothing. If you keep all the 500 questions to be studied on the last day, trust me, it is very, very difficult to do that. And as a result, I would strongly recommend you do that. Now, when it comes to AFM, for the IBS paper, typically, from what we understand, if I extrapolate the multidisciplinary case study, the relative weightage of a paper like AFM is relatively less. But if you want to kind of mark out important concepts or important things, ensure you keep kind of a post-it or something where you mark out where a chapter or where a adjustment, like you have something like convexity. Well, you want to know where convexity is. If it comes in an open book, you would just come up over there and handle that. So mark out those important things so that it becomes easier for you. Don't wait till the end for referencing. Have those sticky notes or post-its where you kind of clearly mark that off, and I hope that should even help you in your IBS overall preparation, or at least indexing, because detailed cases are usually not there in AFM. It's more of a practical. Open book does not do a lot except for remembering formulas. Like law FR, there is a lot of law, so your open book helps you in referring the law. In AFM, it's more of concepts, so you can just refer where important concepts, tricky concepts are, and I hope that should be helpful. So I will share this revision planner again on the Telegram channel along with the FR1. I've kept a section for you where you track it, actual days, your target and hours, and for everything that you're doing, please maintain a list and a log over here, because this will become your base for your second revision. What I have given is a general reference. What the time that you take in the first revision, typically around 60-70% of the time is taken in the second revision. So from this paper, you will be easily able to map up your second revision plan as well. So I leave you at that. I hope your studies are going good and you will excel in your preparations and papers. I'll see you soon with other videos. Till then, goodbye, good luck, and take care.